The Mario games have a lot of, strange enemies, like this Goomba thing, but there's an even stranger one, the Blooper. They are squid-like creatures that are found in the ocean. Are they weird? Yes, but they also went through a lot of changes. And today we're going to take a look at this weird enemy and see how it changed in all those years in every way possible. Now, as we can all see, the Blooper is some sort of squid, and the name Blooper is a pun on bloop, a cartoony sound that comes from the ocean. This was most likely a little joke among the developers, since water makes a bloop-like sound in a lot of cartoons when it moves around, hits each other, or when a drop hits the floor. They first appeared in Super Mario Bros., generally in the water levels of the game's beginning in World 2. They follow Mario continuously, although they cannot touch the ground. As a result, they move in a regular zigzag pattern. Now, this enemy was of course made for the underwater levels. They couldn't really use Goombas or Koopas here. So they came up with two standard enemies for the water levels, and they were similar to the land enemies. You have one enemy that is easy to dodge and has linear movement, and another that is more difficult and unpredictable. The easy one was the Cheep Cheep, since it only moves in one direction, and the Blooper was the tricky one. It was quite an unpredictable and fast-moving enemy. He can be a real pain, especially in combination with the Cheep Cheep. They aren't used that much, since they can be quite hectic in groups, and that would most likely be too difficult for the player. But in the games after this, things got more difficult. They started to add some variations that made it twice as hard. Lost Levels features a Blooper that can fly through the air the same way it swims through the water. So in this game they can bother you while you were swimming and also when you were platforming. But the flying Blooper didn't return in the next game. But that game did introduce another variation, and it made the water levels a nightmare. The Blooper Nannies and their babies from Super Mario Bros. 3. The game has normal bloopers, but it also features these two new types. And like I said before, in groups they're horrible. While this variation is just that. A big group of bloopers all together swimming around trying to hit Mario. They behave like the normal ones, but are followed by 3 or 4 Blooper babies. She can send her children in every direction, making it more difficult to swim, and the children will return to her after a short time. So this one can be very difficult to dodge, since all of a sudden you have to deal with 4 to 5 bloopers that can move in all directions. Besides this, if they stay together, the enemy is twice as long as a normal blooper, so they can block off a bigger part of the screen. Overall, Nintendo adds these variations to make the enemies more iconic for the series and to expand on the fanbase. This worked out great for the bloopers, since people thought they were cute, so Nintendo made blooper merchandise like plushies and made a lot of money. Besides this, it also makes the game harder. They did this with every enemy, adding variations that were more challenging than the regular one. So expanding on the blooper was a good move for Nintendo. They ended up creating a very difficult enemy, but people loved it. But what could they do with the blooper after this? Well, they made the jump from 2D to 3D, like almost every Mario enemy. And the bloopers were completely changed. They were originally built for 2D. In 3D, they would be quite easy to dodge, since you can just swim around them. And letting the blooper swim in all directions in its zigzag pattern would make them very messy and extremely hectic. So Nintendo had to come up with a new version of the blooper, and this took a while, since they weren't seen in Super Mario 64. And oddly enough, they also didn't appear in Super Mario World, and that game is 2D, not 3D, so there shouldn't be any problems. After 11 years of absence in the Super Mario series, bloopers reappear in Super Mario Sunshine, but have a different look. This is the first game where bloopers are found on dry land spitting goop, and spraying them with water stuns them briefly. Mario can simply jump on bloopers to defeat them, and if one of these bloopers falls in the water, they disappear in a cloud of smoke. So they pulled them out of the water, and now all of a sudden they fight with Mario on land, and their weakness is water. Everything changed, but does it work? Well, they're slow, big, don't do a lot of damage, so yeah, overall they're pretty easy. Their 2D version can be very challenging and hard to dodge, but this one is quite easy to kill, especially if you stun them. and on the scaffolding you can easily spray some water on them and they will fall down. So they became extremely weak. Now this isn't too important. Yeah, the regular ones weren't that good, but they added some new very cool variations. The first one being the special version that Mario can ride on, called Blooper Racers. These bloopers do not attack Mario and are owned by Big Daddy. The green ones are the slowest but can be steered the easiest, yellow has average speed and average steering, and purple is the fastest but has horrible steering. Now this is amazing. I love this. The Blooper Race minigame is loads of fun and very fitting with the game itself. It's just surfing on a blooper, but really fast. Besides, you can choose your own blooper that fits your playstyle. Overall, this is a great way to use this enemy. Now this isn't the only special version that we see in this game. The 3D world also provided other options. An extremely large goop-spitting version known as Gooper Blooper also appears in Super Mario Sunshine. This is the first time that a blooper boss appeared, and this is all because of the now 3D world, since making a boss out of its 2D version is a bit difficult. In 3D, they just made him bigger, and you had to pull off his tentacles and then pull on his mouth. This boss was a bit weird since the tentacles jiggle, but overall, it's a good boss. But it only worked in Super Mario Sunshine, since this boss didn't return in any of the other main series games. However, something did change in the spin-off games, thanks to this boss. But I'll come back to that. So the Super Mario Sunshine regular bloopers are pretty basic and easy to defeat, but the variations like the racing one and the boss present some new cool mechanics and features. They had to come up with a new blooper that would work in 3D, and ended up creating the coolest minigame ever and a pretty nice boss. After this, the blooper returned in a lot of 2D or semi-2D games that appeared on the Wii, Wii U and 3DS. They didn't really change in these games and just took on their old role that they had in the first game. There's only one new thing in New Super Mario Bros. Wii. They are able to hide behind scenery and in wall pipes. And as soon as you come close, they attack. So that can be a bit of a surprise. But in the other 3D games, they made a horrible choice. Like I said before, the 2D blooper doesn't work in 3D. And guess what Nintendo did in Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2? They added the 2D blooper as an enemy. If Mario approaches them, they will start chasing him, swimming irregularly as in the other games. Like I said before, this doesn't work at all. You just swim past them since you're way faster and ignore them completely. They even use them in open areas. Here you can see them from miles and swim around them. Look, if they only used them in small areas like a tunnel, that would kind of work. But in huge open areas, no. Now let's move over to the spin-off games, since the boss from Super Mario Sunshine started a trend here. Blooper bosses also started to appear in games like Paper Mario. And in all those years, quite a lot have been seen. Sure, King Calamari was the first ever blooper boss, but he was a bit experimental and we never saw him again. Gooper Blooper from Super Mario Sunshine actually returned as a boss in Paper Mario Sticker Star. But what about the other spin-off games? Well, they became an item in Mario Kart, were seen in Mario Party games, the Mario and Luigi games, and way more. Bloopers even have some interesting connections to Splatoon. It was once planned to be a Mario game, but this changed. But I will save that for another video, since there's even more. So for a simple squid, they accomplished a lot, being seen in almost every Mario game trying to either kill or help him. Cute, aren't they? Also, be sure to join the Nintendo Switch livestream that I'll be doing on YouTube together with Zeltec and Commonwealth Realm. The times are on the screen right now. We'll discuss the console a bit, watch the livestream presentation together, and then discuss some stuff afterwards. Well, hello there! I hope you had a wonderful day, that's all I wanted to say. Yeah, I know I should promote you clicking on more videos, but I don't feel like it. I care about you. How has your day been? Tell me in the comment section. How has your day been? Tell me in the comment section.